Andrea Manigat. My story began about 6 years ago when I lost my 16-year-old daughter to a gun. I began my journey of grief, and I became a part of a club that I did not ask to join. With that, I took the trauma of losing my daughter, and I returned it into being able to have compassion to help others going through the same type of trauma.
We stopping again?
Yes.
Okay. It's okay.
I gotta see if I want to put that in because sometimes I get emotional. So let me see.
I got you.
I may not tell my story again because I already did it my first time. So if they hadn't listened to my first 2 times, then
You got the video of it, so if you want to, you can post it for your first recording. If you don't want to, you know,
keep on.
right. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. And 5, 4, 3, 2.
Thank you for tuning in to WDRBmedia, the voice of the community. The only station giving you double the information and inspiration. You're listening to Unmasking the Pain, and I am your host, Andrea Manigat. Today we're going to talk about grief and loss, and with it we're going to talk about self-care for yourself when you are experiencing grief and loss. The following suggestions are given to you because these are the things that I did after I experienced a trauma, which was the loss of my 16-year-old daughter. The first one is listen to your body. The reason you need to listen to your body is because the grief is something that you have to go through. You have to meet it head on in order to get to a phase of a place to where you can go move forward in your life. So if you need to cry, cry. If you need to sleep, sleep. Do just whatever your body is telling you to do because that is a part of grief. If you need time, give yourself time. If you need to talk to someone that is trustworthy, that you can talk to share your story with, do that. If you need to reminisce about the loss of your loved one, take time to do that. It is very important that you do these things because the process of grief will help you go through it and be able to move on to happiness, or what we call the normal life after you have lost a loved one. The second one I want to talk about is lower expectations of yourself. You cannot expect yourself to be in full capacity of the things that you used to do or of the time that you used to have. So, for example, if you may be working full-time, sometimes you have to just go to working part-time to be able to go through your grief. Give yourself a break and don't try to be exactly the person that you was before, because at this time, you're a totally different person. You're living in what you call the new norm of your life at that time of the loss of your loved one. So educate others. And educating others, what you do with educating others is you let others know what to expect of you and what they need to say to you and what they should not say to you. Because a lot of times people do not know how to handle someone that have experienced the loss. So either they fight or they flight. So a lot of times you lose friends, you lose family members because they really don't know what to say to you. So they just avoid you. The third one I want to talk about is if you need counseling, do it. Get counseling. There's nothing wrong with getting counseling. Like I've said before, a lot of times people expect us to continue to be a strong person. But at that time, they don't know what we have been through. They don't know what we have experienced. And so who are they to say that? You know, if you have to talk to someone, it's okay. It's not a taboo to talk to someone. But talk to someone if it's a professional person and you feel you need to speak to a therapist, if you need to see a psychiatrist, or if you need to talk to a trusted friend or family member that can understand. That is very important. I realize in going through the grief process that a lot of times people say, oh, move on. Well, who are them to tell you to move on? You move on at the pace and at the speed and at the time that it works for you, because you're the one that have lost that loved one. So you know exactly what it is that you need. They don't know what you need. So who are them to tell you to move on? You know, don't hesitate to contact a medical or a mental health specialist if you have feelings of hopelessness and suicidal thoughts. Take the time to do the things that you need to do for yourself when you feel up to it. Engage in activities in which you felt drawn away from. It could be revisiting an old friend that you hadn't seen in a while. It could be a walk in the park. Nature is very good for the serotonin, just walking and just clearing your mind. Reading, if you're able to just be at a standstill where you can read. It's very important during this process to take care of your time. I stress these things because when you are going through grief, if you mask it and you just cover it up, it affects 2% of other parts of things that are going on in your life. For say, it can affect you on your job, your relationship with your children, your relationship with your partner, your spouse, friends, and family. So it's important that you get help when you need it, especially if you are having thoughts of hopelessness and suicidal thoughts. Again, pamper yourself. Take time to, go on a vacation if it's just for a weekend. Maybe go get your nails done. Go get your hair done. Get a pedicure. Do things that pampering yourself, because at the end of the day, that's what you need to still make yourself feel comfortable with still living, comfortable with moving on, and comfortable with the new norm. Because again, remember, this is a new person. This is not the old person that you was. So these are very important with moving forward, and it could be inexpensive activities. It doesn't always have to be something where you have to spend money, but pamper yourself in a way that is affordable for you. Again, keep a journal. Keeping a journal is very good for the mind. Write down your thoughts when they occur. It is good to go write down your present, and when you go to the future, you can look back at your past and see how far you have come. Because again, you have to be kind with yourself during this time. So it's okay if for 2 months you was good and you didn't cry, and all of a sudden you're writing in your journal and you see that, oh, I've had a crying spell, or a grief outburst is what it's really called. And you could go back and look back and say, oh wow, well, you know what, it was months from now since I've cried. So give yourself credit for that. So it is okay to cry as much as you need to cry. And with the journal, you write down your feelings and you validate them. You can go back at the end of the night, again, like I said, and you can look back and you can see how you did through the day, or with the progress to see if you really need help to talk to a professional person, a friend, or a trusted family member. Give physical exercise. It is very important that you exercise because what it does is it helps maintain a routine. If you journal, you exercise, it's a routine that you have formed. If you was exercising before, it's a great thing. If you was not exercising before, start exercising so that can also give you a hobby. It'll give you something to do, and it also helps the serotonin. But again, before you do exercise, I would recommend that you do see a doctor before you embark on that if you was not exercising before, because sometimes you don't know, especially after a grief loss of someone, especially if it was a traumatic loss, you don't know where things are physically with your body. So it's best to consult a physician before you do that. Obtain a proper diet and sleep. It is very important to obtain a proper diet and sleep. That helps with the grieving process also. Sleep is essential for the body and the mind. So getting the proper sleep helps you to function well. I know a lot of times you can't sleep You can put some music of your choice on. I know for me, I used soft jazz. I used Tibetan music, and I just used things that was very mellow, calm, and that helped me to go to sleep too. Sometimes even putting on the sound of waves also helped too. So those are things that can help you sleep better, because at that time the mind does get restless and it is difficult to sleep. But those are things that you can do to sleep. And if you have it for an ongoing period of time of not sleeping, you would need to consult with your physician about that. Be aware of others' reactions. Many people do not know how to react appropriately after you have lost someone. Some are more comfortable than others in responding to the way that they react to your loss. Some people don't even know what to say. So during this time, this is a time that you can let people know of the things that they can say to you, because they don't realize that some things that they say to you, it causes trigger of that, the grief process or the loss of a loved one. Give them different ideas, because people have different ideas about death. You know, there's sometimes it's because of their religion belief, or sometimes of the way that they grew up, the things that were said to them by the people around them. So this is a time that you can let them know, individuals know, what to say to you and what not to say to you. Be true to yourself. And being true to yourself, that's also a way of letting others know what they can say to you and what they cannot say to you. And these are the things that I want you to keep in mind when you are doing self-care for yourself while you are with the grief and loss process. Because, again, I quote and I keep saying it, that if you mask your grief and you don't meet it head on, that 2% of unresolved grief affects more areas of your life than you would ever think of. So make sure that you take care of yourself, be kind to yourself. That's the most important thing, so that you'll be able to grieve and move forward to a place of gratefulness, a place of joy, a place of peace, and a place of love, because it is a process. It's a process, and it's also work. Grief is work. And I always like to say before I conclude that always remember that grief is a journey and gratitude is the destination. And at this time, we'll be taking a break.
Clear. You had about 30 more seconds before you had to take a break, but you did good.
Yes, that was very good.
Mm-hmm. Ready for round two?
Was really good.
We're still live.
Fits with what? It's really good.
We're still live.
Oh, we are?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought you put me on pause.
This is on pause, but the broadcast is still live. Wait a minute, it said it's interrupted.
Oh.
Okay.
So now this is my next 30 minutes.
No, this is the same show. It's only 12 minutes in. Almost 12 minutes.
Oh, that is? Okay.
Yeah, you got another half of this show to continue.
Okay.
Yep.
So wait a minute then. Just 1 minute.
So nothing's repetitious, right? Did you just go on and you don't repeat anything?
Oh, no.
Just
Less is key points, like I said, 2% of the grief is affected. So, boy, that 30 minutes was a long time.
sure.
Jesus. take
And
the
you can
wheel.
slow down and emphasize on some of the key points that you're making, because they're very good key points.
Okay.
Yep.
Wait a minute. Let me get my other contents out.
Sure.
I did it as content. You got me?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep, you're still live.
Okay.
Let me know when you're ready.
I should have talked about me as a coach, but I think I can wait on that, huh?
Just picking up everything you say
Oh,
live.
I'm sorry.
You okay? Say hey to everybody.
Hi, everybody. How are you doing? I hope you're having a great day.
Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes. So I'm going to be continuing on with grief and confronting the reality of death. And I'm going to let you know about a quote that I love. It's by William James, and it's honoring the story, meaning honoring your grief. So with that grief,
Are you want to wait till you start broadcasting?
oh,
Because right now you're just live. I'm not capturing this for your show yet.
oh, okay,
I'm
okay.
sorry. Yeah, you went right in telling everybody, hey, because everybody's watching you live.
Okay,
Yeah.
hi.
So
Thank you all for watching.
There you go.
Okay, I'm ready.
All
to
right, you
start.
ready?
Yeah.
And after I say in 5, 4, 3, 2, just pause for like 2 seconds before you start. Okay. Okay. And in 5, and remember to look at the camera. Look at your beautiful self.
Yes.
And in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hello, welcome back, everybody. So now we're going to talk about confronting the reality of death. And I always like this quote. It's by William James. And this quote is called Honoring the Story. Grief must be faced relentlessly, no matter how painful, to enable emotional wound to heal. It is necessary to feel the hurt, the loneliness, and the anguish until it becomes thoroughly familiar. So with that said, it's, again, like I said, you have to meet grief face on. And with meeting grief face on, these are the things that we have to experience with going through grief. Again, I always say that we became a member of a club that we did not ask to join. It did not have a time frame. It did not give us a warning. It just happened. And even for those that knew that something was going to happen to their loved one, these are still things that are great for you to remember, because even though you're expecting it, it's still unexpected. It's still a pain or a feeling or emotion that you have to experience. And some of us don't want to face it. Because it is so painful, we don't know how to address it. We don't know how to talk about it. So a lot of us, we just dive into work because we feel like that's going to help, or we start doing things that we normally did not do before. And all those are signs that you are masking the grief, and you just need to deal with it. You need to let the cry out. You need to let the pain out. But it's important too also to have a great support system. Support systems are always great. I became a grief coach, and the reason why I became a grief coach is because every time I help a family member, it's always in memory of my daughter Jasmine. I help so many families that, it's just second nature to me, and I love it. It's not always easy, but again, it's therapy for me also, because I'm finding the joy, the peace, the love, and enabling it all to come into my life at this time. But then there are days that I still go through it. So I still have to face the pain relentlessly. I still have to meet grief head on. There are days when I still feel like I can't go on. But when I'm helping someone else, I'm also helping myself, and it gives me some relief. So there are things that I do as a grief coach that helps people. It helps people to be able to move forward. I don't let them live in the past. We move from that point of where they're at to moving on. Some of the things that I especially like to express with my clients is creating rituals for remembrance. And everything that I'm discussing is all ties into the fact that you're moving forward from your grief. But remember, in moving forward from your grief, you're not leaving your loved one behind. A lot of times we feel like we're leaving our loved ones behind. We're not leaving our loved ones behind. What we're doing is we're taking them into the memory of the new life and the new meaning of our new life that we're living. So some of the things that you can do with creating rituals for remembrance, that's a very good thing that you can do for your loved one, in the memory of your loved one. Personal ritual of remembrance. I know for me and my family, for Jasmine, during the holidays, I know her other siblings at the table, what they do is they set a place at a table for Jasmine with a flower in her favorite color, which is purple. And what we do is we just actually just sit around, and it's like she isn't there, but her spirit is there. Her body isn't there, but the memory of her is there. And that's something that you can do. You can even create your own holiday, you know. It doesn't have to be on the actual holiday. You can create your own day of remembrance of your loved one. And that could be something that you can celebrate with you and your family, or you and the children if you have children. You know, if you're alone and you don't have any other children, or you don't have a spouse or a close friend or a good support system, you can just put a flower of that person, the favorite color, in the home for that person. And this is normally during the holidays if someone celebrates a holiday, you know. Like I said, I know my children, they do it for Jasmine during the Christmas holidays, because she left us during that season of the year. So they don't necessarily do it on the specific day, but they have a day that they do it. For me, I let a balloon go. That's a ritual. I let purple balloons go because that was her favorite color. So that's a ritual that I do in the month of December for her. You can also have family rituals of remembrance. There can possibly be a day that you and your family can have an event and you just honor your loved one. That's a very good tool that I find that my children and I are thinking about doing for Jasmine, because again, a lot of times when we are grieving or we are going through the process, we tend to think that if we start being happy, if we start being joyous, if we start doing things, activities, we feel like, oh, we get the guilt feeling like, wow, you know, I don't want to do it because, you know, the loved one is not here. But incorporate that to your ritual, the new norm for you, and that'll just tie into a memory of your loved one. Again, it's all about the memory of your loved one, and you're taking your loved one with you every step of the way with the things that you do in remembrance of him or her. Also, community rituals of remembrance is usually at a